Well, welcome back, everybody. We were quickly interrupted by a commercial, but this is our KOIN 6 Town Hall Race and Justice in Portland. I'm Jeff Gianola along with Ken Boddy. Ken and I are friends. We love journalism. We love this community. But Ken, the one thing I don't share with you is skin color. And you have had different experiences than I will ever have when it comes to police.
Well, I'll tell you that I've had a number of experiences, encounters, but I'll give you one, and this happened relatively recently. Traffic stops are a concern if you're black and you get stopped by police. I was coming home from work one night. I had anchored an 11 o'clock newscast and drive a nice car, live in a decent neighborhood. I pull into my place of residence, where I'm supposed to be. All of a sudden, I see the flashing lights behind me. I see an officer get out of his car. He's blocked me in where I park. An officer get out of his car, hand on his gun, come up behind me. Comes to the driver's side window. I roll down the window. And he went flush. He recognized me. "Oh, Mr. Boddy, how are you doing this evening?" Well, I was doing well until that incident happened. But I think about the fact that I hadn't done anything. At the end, I asked him, why did he stop me? He said, because I didn't come to a complete stop, like a couple blocks away. Don't know if I did or not. But it made me think, and I had a number of other encounters like that. I've been here for almost 40 years. What if I wasn't Mr. Boddy?
What if you were not Ken Boddy?
How would that encounter have gone? Because I know I have friends and people who are in family, who I call family, who have had traffic stops, and they did not end that way.
And I know some of our guests have similar experiences. Senator Frederick Liu, you shared some of those experiences at the governor's news conference just a few days ago. Can you let our viewers know your experiences with that?
Well, I understand what Ken is dealing with completely. We've seen the same kind of thing. I actually was in a Channel 8 news car when I was a reporter, stopped in King City, and as we stopped, the police officer called for backup. And when he went to the driver's window, I was the passenger. He said, "I need to have your registration," and I said, "Well, the registration is in the glove compartment below me." And so I said, "Do you want the registration?" He said, "Yes." So I started to reach for the registration very slowly. The gun came out. It was right across the face of my photographer. And I said, "You know, if you want the registration, that's fine, but I'm not going to get shot for it." He said, "I need to see your hands at all times." And I said, "Well, I can't do that way." I reached very slowly down, got the registration out, handed it to him. And then he went back and checked the registration. Now, this is in a marked Channel 8 news car. And he had the gun out, pointed at me because I was reaching for the registration. When I finally called the chief of police for that town, his response was, "Well, he's a new guy. He's only been on the force a couple of years." And I said, "Well, he could have shot me. He would have killed me as well." And he said, "Well, you didn't get hurt." I said, "No, I didn't get hurt, but why would you allow somebody with that immaturity, with that kind of approach, to be a police officer?" So that's just one. And then, of course, I've been stopped in front of my own house a couple of times and asked why I was driving so slowly through the neighborhood, wondering whether I was lost or not. And when I said, "No, I'm not lost," and pointed out that I've been living in my house since 1977, but it's a gentrified neighborhood now, he was not expecting to see me in the neighborhood. And I had to point that out to him. He was not pleased that I pointed that out. He said, "Oh, no, I wasn't thinking about it that way." Yes, you were. That's the kind of thing. And so for me, it's a question of often just not feeling safe if I see the lights behind me, because I'm not sure just how somebody's going to respond. Now that I have gray hair, they respond a little differently. But beyond that, it's the fact is, I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, all of us here, grew up in black families. We've all gotten the talk. I'm sure we've got the talk from our parents about what to do and what not to do, especially if you have an encounter with police, if you get stopped by police. I know my parents sat me down. I'm from upstate New York. They sat me down and they said, make sure your hands are always visible, turn on the lights in the car. If you have to reach for your registration, tell them exactly what you're doing and get permission to do that. You don't want any movement to be misinterpreted, and we've all been taught that from kids.
Yeah. We want to get to CJ
Unfortunately,
right
I
now.
have to go.
CJ, someone's phone's ringing there, but CJ,
Yeah,
you were interrupted.
Lou Frederick has to go, so thank you for your
Thanks,
story,
Lou.
Lou, and
Thank you.
we'll
Take
talk
care.
to you again.
CJ, we'll check in with you. You were interrupted when that commercial break hit a little bit early, but complete your thoughts there, or maybe you want to expand on what Ken said.
Yeah, I'll do both. So I'll complete the thought is just safety has to be the key. Safety has to be the key rather than policing, and all policies, all ways of interacting need to be ordered that way. If when officers are protecting other officers from justice, they're making the community less safe, and that's very, very clear. Kind of moving into, I hear exactly what Senator Frederick is saying. I've experienced what you've experienced as well, Mr. Body, and I think I want to push it even further. So my parents gave me the talk growing up, and I became so good with the tools that they gave me of yes sir, no sir, and of really bottling up what is anger and is frustration and truly actually is rage at the end of the day for being treated as less than a man consistently. And so what I did was actually took that, bottled it up, got so good at it, and went to law school. Graduated from Lewis and Clark Law School here in Portland, and had planned to become a defense attorney. But the safety goes even further. What I realized in looking at data as I was graduating from law school was that the outcomes for children of Black parents here in Oregon are completely flat, irregardless of your socioeconomic status, right? And so what that means is that me, CJ Robbins, and my child, we had a daughter on the way, my child had the exact same likelihood of outcomes in their life as a homeless man on the street if he shares the same skin color, right? And having gone through and graduated from law school, that is an unacceptable outcome for me. And you talk about unsafe, you're unsafe to even live the American dream, right? You can work hard, you can do your best, you can do everything you have, you plan to hand on a legacy to your kids, and oh, there's a problem, right? So in that, I rerouted my life. I decided to pursue a life of social justice work, and that's why I do the work that I do with the Office of Equity and Human Rights. And so I just wanted to, I'm sure there are others with stories of being pulled over as well. Yeah. And it is that, and it inundates every moment of life and every decision that you make, right? So we can't get to that higher rung. We can't get there because we're not safe yet.
Yeah, it's always something that's in the back of your mind, no matter what level of status that you reach in society. And Antoinette Edwards, you were shaking your head to some of those stories.
A lot of those stories. As I'm sitting here by my husband, my 71-year-old wonderful husband that still gets that anxiety, that fear, if he is in front of a police car and it stops. Now, if you know my husband, and Ken, you do, y'all play golf together, real cool guy, TriMet board, all that good stuff. And I just share that to say the plight of Black men, of Black people, didn't do anything wrong, but just someone pulling up behind you ignites that fear. And there's a quote that says, "How can I be unarmed when my Blackness is the weapon you fear?" We wake up, we show up being Black, and to have that fear and I'm afraid, I'll just give the example of the woman, this brother bird watching. And she can just play that white race card. You're a Black man, I'm scared. But Black men, Black people live with that every day.
You're absolutely correct. And that was Amy Cooper in Central Park, the woman. Christian Cooper was the bird watcher. And he just called her on the rules of the park. You have to leash your dog in this park because it's for bird watchers.
And they disturb the birds. So.
And the thing about it is, she had to have been aware that once she called 911 on this Black man, that could have gone bad and he could have been seriously hurt or killed. If the wrong cop had showed up at that time. With gun drawn, and she had said that he was threatening her life, That could have gone really bad really quickly, and I'm sure she knew that.
We want our panel to listen up. You know, since this is a town hall, we've invited some viewer questions, and let's share one of those with you. And whoever feels like responding to this viewer question, please do. But I will read it along here as it comes up on the screen. And we did have a lot of viewer questions that are coming up. And here's one. There are always these discussions after something tragic happens. How can the discussions continue after all this furor dies down, after all the protests die down? How do we convert it into action? Who wants to tackle that?
I'll try a number
Go ahead, Matt. Yeah.
question. There are a number of ways. Number one, you've got representatives of groups here, from Akiana and the work he's doing, and CJ and the work he's doing, and the work at Nike Green in the Office of Youth Violence, prevention. I lead an interfaith peace and action collaborative with police and community and faith coming together. Sam Sachs leads the Breaking Bread, Breaking Barriers, which brings community and police together. These things have been going on for a while. We've done a lot of this work for several years. So we haven't just come to the table now because there's an issue. What we'll do is make sure, Jeff, that you and Ken get the information so that it can somehow be placed on your website. I'm just speaking of those things, but there are plenty of other initiatives. And quite frankly, I think what this has done caused all of us both elevate and escalate what it is that we're doing, because there is no way we can all go back to business as usual after something like this.
Here's another viewer question, and again, anyone can pick up on this. What recommendations do you have for law enforcement and the local government to protect your communities?
I'm gonna ask Lakiana Drury on that one because of his PSEP work being right there at the forefront with some policy work. I would love to hear his answer.
So, can you repeat the question again? It's on what policy changes?
Yeah, what recommendations do you have for law enforcement and the local government to protect your communities, and would community-oriented policing address some of the bigger issues?
Yeah, I want to see specific Black policies, right? When we talk about this issue, this is the death of George Floyd, a Black man. And so I want to see our policies specifically laid out to that. I haven't seen enough from local law enforcement agencies in there. Things like fixing the discipline matrix for officers who violate or do police misconduct. You had Senator Fredericks already talk about legislation so that binding arbitration doesn't in the way of the police chief or the mayor when they make decisions to fire officers that they get rehired. You have to increase the use of force standard and make that threshold higher. Independent prosecutors, when you have an officer involved shooting or disciplinary action, you cannot have the DA, who also works with the police on an everyday basis, now investigating an officer. We want to see the end of harassment of Black men and boys by police, and we will hold that accountable by context stop or pretext stop data. So looking at the data of why people are stopped. If you look at Portland statistics on stops data, Black men are stopped overrepresented in stops data, overrepresented in use of force. So those are two things that we will use to hold accountable. The mayor just today ended school resource officers in schools. So that is another policy change that we wanted to see. I think there needs to be a very serious look at the gun violence reduction team and have a very serious question around how is that still necessary? And then as far as what people can do in the meantime right now, first of all, we have to vote. Imagine if we had a president in power right now that was sympathetic to the lives of Black Americans, what kind of national legislation could be done. So we need to vote that man out, vote in people who are ready to take action, like Mike Schmidt, the DA, and get other people like that, vote in the right senators so we have state legislation. and take action now, and don't wait for politicians to say we're going to take action in 90 days or 120 days, or we're going to wait, a year to review this. People in the streets need to continue to march, because that pressure allows us to then force the policy changes. If people leave the streets, then we've lost a huge leverage point. So we need people to continue to march. We are seeing the largest mass demonstrations.
Yeah,
Yes,
we definitely get that point, Lakiana. We have to go and take a break right now. And when we come back, we see the protests, but what about a plan of action, a solution? We'll explore that even more coming up.